Welcome back, Browns fans. It's me, Minnesota Browns fan, and today in my second ever video, what I want to go over with you guys today is the top 30 Browns draft targets in the 2025 NFL Draft. Now, the Browns have the most draft capital in this year's draft. We have four picks within the first 100 picks, that being 2, 33, 67, and 94, and then we got the 104. These are awesome picks that we could use to draft some phenomenal players, and we know the Browns desperately need these players. Now, to kind of break it down for you, there's four targets I have in the first round. I have 8 targets in the second, 11 targets in the third round because we have two draft picks, that being the 67 and the 94, and then I have 7 targets in the fourth round. This is my position targets breakdown. Okay, there's four quarterbacks that I think we should target. 5 running backs, 5 wide receivers, 5 tight ends, 5 offensive tackles, 5 safeties, and 1 defensive end. Now, in my ideal scenario, these are the top 5 positions that the Browns should look at: quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, left tackle. Browns, we are the 32nd ranked offense, right? We have so many holes that we need to fill. If the first 5 picks aren't on offense, I might go crazy. Now, as you can see here, there's also safeties I'm looking at and one D end, and I think we all know who that D end is. So what I'm going to start off with, I'm going to look at the first 4 targets who we should have in order of how I would draft them. Now, with the second overall pick, my first choice would easily be Cam Ward. Cam Ward is a franchise player. He might not be Jaden Daniels of the Washington Commanders, but I think if the Browns drafted Cam Ward, we would go from already bottom ranked offense, 32 overall, all the way to maybe top half of the league. We just need a guy who has the confidence, who can throw the football downfield accurately and not make those little mistakes. You know, we look at guys like Joe Flacco and Jameis Winston, and yeah, they could push the ball down the field, but they make too many mistakes. Cam Ward, I think, will alleviate that problem. But there is a problem. Browns don't have the first overall pick. That pick belongs to the Tennessee Titans, and it's almost 100% guaranteed that Cam Ward is going to go to the Tennessee Titans. So, who do we draft next? Well, there's 4 quarterbacks I want to target. Well, with the real second overall pick, instead of going Shedeur Sanders, I want the Cleveland Browns to go Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter is generational. I would put him at wide receiver to pair next to Jerry Jeudy. I want you to imagine that. If you look at the Browns roster when it comes to wide receivers, you have Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, David Bell. Those are your top 3 wide receivers. That is bottom of the league in terms of wide receiver core. You add Travis Hunter, the best wide receiver in this draft class, all of a sudden, pairing him with Jerry Jeudy, we are an immediate threat. You want to look at why do quarterbacks fail in our system? We always have mediocre wide receivers. In this instance, having Jerry Jeudy and Travis Hunter, that creates an elite offense. 2 guys who can stretch the field, who can go at you at all 3 levels. And a big part of wanting Travis Hunter is he can play cornerback. Let's look at our cornerbacks last year. Denzel Ward, he played phenomenal. Maybe his best football. Yeah, you would have liked to see a few more interceptions. My biggest problem was Denzel Ward. He is one more concussion away from being out of the league, in my humble opinion. I'm not a doctor by any means, but Denzel Ward scares me. If he has another major head injury, if I was him, I would think about retirement. Having Travis Hunter as insurance is, I think, something that you can't put a price on. And drafting him was a second overall pick. I think that's amazing. Or you could pair Denzel Ward with Travis Hunter because let's be honest, Martin Emerson had a down year last year. This is why, if we take Cam Ward out of the equation, Travis Hunter is the ideal number 2 overall pick for the Cleveland Browns. Now, hypothetically, Cam Ward's gone. Browns are a little hesitant on Travis Hunter. We need a quarterback. My third choice is Shedeur Sanders. Okay? Shedeur Sanders to me is, I want to say, boom or bust. I'm not a big fan of this QB class at all, but the number 1 thing the Browns need It is a quarterback. Shedeur Sanders is a gamer. He's going to give you 110%, and he throws a damn accurate football. He threw 74% in college football, which led the nation at the college football level. Browns desperately need an accurate quarterback, someone who doesn't make a lot of mistakes. We've had too many quarterbacks on our roster who make too many mistakes. Looking at Jameis Winston, Joe Flacco. Deshaun Watson might not have thrown a lot of picks, but he made terrible choices and decisions with that football. Giving us Shedeur Sanders gives us a franchise QB. This is my third choice. So Cam Ward, QB number one. Shedeur Sanders, QB number two. I'm very happy if we draft Shedeur Sanders with a second overall pick. If Browns choose to ignore the Colorado boys, if they obviously can't get Cam Ward, my fourth choice, Abdul Carter. Give me the defensive end out of Penn State. Again, when we're looking at my little graphic about the players by breakdown, I don't want to draft a D end with the top 5 picks that we have. Absolutely not. Unless they're generational. Abdul Carter might be that generational pass rusher that you could pair right next to Myles Garrett, and we could wreak havoc. A lot of people who are for drafting Abdul Carter, the best defensive player in this year's draft, a lot of people who are for him think, hey, we're in the Eagles type situation where you can never have too much pass rushers. Unfortunately for me, he is my fourth choice. It's all about offense. Defensively, we were fine last year. Defensively, we were bend but don't break. We give a lot of field goals. Our offense put us in a lot of bad positions. I think defensively, we are fine. I don't think Abdul Carter, he's more of a luxury for us. If we had him, it'd be awesome, but he's not a need. So if I'm the Cleveland Browns, he is my fourth choice. And, you know, from there, if Browns don't go Abdul Carter, if they don't go Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, I'm fine with trading back. If we trade back, we could target guys like Ashton Jeanty, Will Campbell, Mason Graham, Armand Membou. I think all of these are phenomenal players and they all kind of fill a need with, this is the most exciting part, getting in more draft pick to go along with it. Browns have so many holes that we need to fill them with top tier talent. If we decide to trade back and not draft Travis Hunter or Shedeur Sanders, Abdul Carter, at least we could trade back, pick an elite prospect, hopefully within the top 10, and then accumulate more picks, maybe a first rounder next year, or another second round, maybe give us like Travion Henderson, something like that. So these are my picks in order. So Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, Abdul Carter, and then trade down. As you can see, if we got Cam Ward or Travis Hunter, my excitement's through the roof. Hell, Shedeur Sanders, I would absolutely love him. Abdul Carter, I wouldn't be as excited for. I think he's a luxury. Trading down is not like the sexy pick that you make here, but it does give you more picks to get more players, to get more quality, to get more excellent players that can contribute in the future. Now, let's take a look at 33rd overall pick. My first choice at 33 overall, assuming we draft Travis Hunter, give me Jackson Dart. I have this vision in my head where it's week 1 of the NFL season. The Browns trot out Jackson Dart, Travis Hunter, and Cam Skattebo at running back. A lot of big name players. Doesn't mean they're going to be successful in the NFL, but imagine how much hype our offense would have having these elite, talented rookies step up in week 1 and continue to do this throughout their careers in a Cleveland Browns uniform. So with the 33rd overall pick, my first choice, give me Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart is one of those guys who hit or miss. Again, I am not that high on this QB class. We desperately need a QB, which is, why we're looking at one at second overall and 33rd overall. If I had to rank them, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart. Okay. This guy, he's got a football name. He throws the football downfield, 69% overall completion percentage, 29 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Again, it's what we need. We need an accurate quarterback who's willing to take shots down the field. I believe Jackson Dart, along with Travis Hunter, along with Jerry Jeudy, that can make some noise. Now, let's say hypothetically, Steelers, Saints, some other QB needy team trades up, they draft Jackson Dart before us. Well, another thing that I'm looking for is running back. Right now, we don't have a elite RB on our roster. We have Jerome Ford. I think he's a good RB2. I don't think he's a workhorse guy. Amarian Hampton, if the Browns drafted him with the 33rd overall pick, my excitement would go through the roof. This guy is an absolute wrecking ball. I do not even expect him to be available at the 33rd overall pick, but based on a few mocks that I've seen, a few mocks that I have done, if Omarion Hampton falls out of the first round, he is immediately first consideration for the 33rd overall pick. Again, back to back 1,500-yard seasons, 15 touchdowns, can catch the ball out of the backfield, even though it's not his primary thing. I think the Browns should heavily look to invest in this guy right here. My third choice at 33rd overall, you guys don't call me a homer. Got it. Ohio State. Hey, I'm a Minnesota guy. You know this. But I do love Ohio State football. Emeka Egbuka. Okay? This guy is phenomenal. Okay? I know there's a guy named Jeremiah Smith who everyone loves. I get it. But Emeka Egbuka, phenomenal right here. He is another guy who, first round talent, might drop out of the first round. Imagine if we got Shedeur Sanders and now we're looking to pair another wide receiver with Jerry Jeudy. You get Shedeur, you get Jerry Jeudy, and now all of a sudden you have a Mecca fall at 33 right to you. That is an easily, yes, let's select him and let's throw the football downfield. This would be perfect. Now, let's say Dart's not available, Omarian's not available, you don't have Egbuka anymore. I know, I know left tackle is not like a sexy pick, but it's the only position on our offensive line that we need to upgrade. Jack Conklin is fine when healthy at right tackle. You got two of the best guards in football, Joel Bitonio, Wyatt Teller. You have Ethan Posick, who is a solid center. Left tackle, you don't really have anyone. You signed that Cornelius from the Commanders. You have DeJuan Jones. DeJuan Jones is more of a right tackle. You saw his rookie year; he was phenomenal in that position. All of a sudden, DeJuan Jones comes in out of shape. We slot him in at left tackle, and he was atrocious. He was a revolving door. He was just as bad, if not worse, than Jedrick Wills at left tackle. We need someone to solidify this spot. Josh Simmons, again, I know, another first round talent. If this guy falls out of the first round because of his prior injury, Browns have to jump on him. Okay, and I'm not just saying that because it's Ohio State. He is, in my opinion, the best left tackle in the NFL draft. I know he has a big injury concern, but Josh Simmons bolstering our offensive line, he is the Jedrick Wills type figure that we wanted, but will actually achieve his goal. He is a franchise left tackle. Okay, all these guys I just said have first round grades. We might not get any of them. These guys have second round grades. Again, back to back to back Ohio State players. Again, I'm a Minnesota guy. You got to remember, I have no affinity for Ohio State, but I can acknowledge a good football team when I see one. TreVeyon Henderson or Quinshon Judkins. It might be a little high at 33 to draft these guys. Maybe you trade back. Maybe we say, hey, best running back available, one of these two guys. We draft one. I'm fine with it. Okay, we need a workhorse RB. As you guys know, again, most of you guys are Ohio State fans. I don't think you go wrong with either one. Now, some people are a little different. I'm more TreVeyon Henderson. I like him. I think he's more consistent. That's just me. A lot of people like Quinshon Judkins because he's more consistent. 16, 15, 14 touchdowns in back-to-back-to-back years. He was a menace at Ole Miss, transfers over to Ohio State, wins the national championship by just splitting carries with TreVeyon Henderson. I'm fine with either one. Again, I prefer TreVeyon Henderson. I think his game is going to translate better to the NFL. But again, this is my fifth choice right here. My sixth choice at 33rd overall is Josh Conerly. Again, left tackle, not a sexy pick, but these are the five spots Browns have holes at. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, left tackle. We need somebody to solidify that left tackle spot, and Lord knows it is not DeJuan Jones. At least I'm not a believer yet. I hope he comes to camp in shape and ready to play. If not, Josh Conerly, Josh Simmons. Somebody needs to take a step up and be that left tackle. If Josh Connerly's available at 33rd overall and Andrew Berry says, hey, we're going to take a shot at him, I love it. I am not going to complain one bit. And my last choice is kind of a unique one because he's a first round talent, is Colston Loveland. So 33rd overall pick, my seventh choice. If Colston Loveland falls out of the first round, if he's available at 33rd overall, I would consider drafting him. Again, he's my seventh choice. He is not my top choice. We have David Njoku, but after Njoku, we have nobody. If Browns want to prepare for the future with the inevitable departure of David Njoku, maybe a few years down the line, we have Colston Loveland to fall back on. That's awesome. I think great interior blocker. I think solid route running tight end. I think this would be a steal at 33rd overall. You see guys like Sam Laporta, how big of a difference they make in an offense. I think Colston Loveland could kind of be that sneaky little weapon for Andrew Berry and whoever the Browns quarterback is at that time. Now, those are my seven choices. As you can see, a little breakdown. First choice, Jackson Dart, Omarion Hampton, Emeka Egbuka, Josh Simmons, Henderson or Judkins. I'm fine with either one. Josh Connolly, Colston Loveland. Again, Dart, Egbuka, Hampton. Immediately, I'm excited. Okay, because what Browns need is position players, people at the skill positions who can immediately come in and make a difference. I don't care if it's Travis Hunter and Jackson Dart, Travis Hunter and Omarion Hampton, Travis Hunter and heck, Egbuka, double up on wide receiver, or Travis Hunter and Henderson or Judkins. Immediately, whatever quarterback steps onto that field week one for the Browns, they're already in a better position than the quarterbacks we had last year, and we know there was a lot of them. Okay, so think about that. 67th overall. Now we're getting to the third round. With the 67th and 94th overall pick, I kind of combine these ones. My first choice. If Caleb Johnson is available, draft him. Hypothetically, in my dream scenario, we get Travis Hunter at 2, Jackson Dart at 33, and Caleb Johnson at 67. Imagine that offense on the football field. I know they're all rookies. I know they would be young, but I would be incredibly excited to see these. Caleb Johnson, Iowa can't throw the football. Meanwhile, teams are stacking the box 8, maybe 9 men deep, and he's still putting up 1,500 yards, 21 touchdowns. This guy is an absolute beast. In fact, you guys are going to disagree. I like Iowa. That's my bias. I think he could be better than Henderson and Quinshon Judkins. I actually have him ranked higher than both of them. Now, NFL scouts who actually get paid for a living, they disagree with me, as it probably should be. But I love Caleb Johnson. I think he could be an elite talent for the Cleveland Browns, kind of similar to Nick Chubb, because he's not a receiving guy at all. Nick Chubb was not a receiving guy at all. I think we can get Nick Chubb level talent, maybe not at 100%, but Nick Chubb level talent from this guy. Hopefully he falls to us at 67. I know he has a second round grade, so he might not be available. But if he is available at 67, you got to draft Caleb Johnson. He is my first choice. My second choice, again, let's say we don't draft a left tackle at second overall or 33. Well, draft one in the third round. Ariante Ursary, Minnesota. Again, you guys know, Minnesota Browns fan right here. I could vouch for this guy. He could be our left tackle. He has qualities that remind me of Trent Williams, which high praise, I know, but he has the size and the athleticism and the speed to be that guy to set the edge for running backs, to protect our quarterback's blind side. I want the Browns to really evaluate this guy. If we can get him at 67th overall, because again, he has a unique grade. He can go from anywhere from the first round to the third round. If we can get him with a 67th overall pick, I love that. Again, even if it's Jackson Dart and Travis Hunter, at least we'll know they'll be protected. My third choice at 67 overall, Jaden Higgins. Let's say we draft Shedeur Sanders, Omari Hampton. We still need another playmaking wide receiver to pair with Jerry Jeudy. Jaden Higgins. I like Jerry Jeudy in the slot, on the outside. I think Jerry Jeudy can do a little bit of it all. With Jaden Higgins, he's a bigger body. He kind of reminds me of Mike Williams or Mike Evans type player who can go up and get that ball and high point it. We need a guy like this to kind of pair with Jerry Jeudy, who I think Jerry Jeudy's a great kind of receiving option to give these kind of low down, not kind of intermediate passes. Jaden Higgins is a guy I want to spread the field, go up top, get it, a red zone threat right next to David Njoku. I think the Browns desperately need that. So with my third choice, if Jaden Higgins falls to us at 67th overall, please Browns consider it. My fourth option, um, people are going to disagree with me because of what he ran at his pro day. At his pro day, he ran something atrocious. It was like a 4.8, and for a receiver in the NFL, that is not ideal at all. But Xavier Restrepo, the eye test doesn't lie. I watch this guy, and he gives me Lad McConkey vibes. He gives me Cooper Kupp vibes. He is a player you throw into the slot, and he'll make things happen. He'll just be open randomly, and you'll never think, wow, how the heck does he get open every time? It's just one of those players with that unique ability who I think can transfer over to the NFL level. I think he is a great PPR guy. I think he is a guy who could catch 5, 6, 7 balls per game, kind of like a Jarvis Landry type. I think he is a sleeper pick for whoever drafts him. Whether it's 67th overall, 94th overall, I would absolutely love if the Browns looked at this guy. I feel like his stock is going to fall because of what he ran. That is disingenuous to the actual player that Xavier Restrepo is. I'm a big fan of this guy. It's the reason why he's my fourth choice. Browns fans, please consider Xavier Restrepo. Don't hate on him. He is an elite player, and I hope for whatever team gets him, I hope he succeeds. My fifth choice, Jack Bech. Now, I'm not really as high as him as some other players or as some other scouts, but I want people to kind of take a look at this guy. He has a unique frame. He'll get you 1,000 yards. He had 1,000 yards at his last season at TCU. He had 9 touchdowns last year, and I think he's just needs to go into the right system. I believe going into the Brown system, he's not a Travis Hunter by any means. He will not overshadow Jerry Jeudy, but I think he could be a complementary player next to Jerry Jeudy. Maybe not at the level as like a Matthew Golden or a Travis Hunter or anything like that, but a really nice, solid wide receiver too. I'm much higher on Xavier Restrepo, but I think they would play a different role in the Browns' offense. But I think Jack Beck is another wide receiver that Browns should consider. My sixth choice, Cam Scatterbo. And a lot of people, some people hate this guy, some people love him, some people compare him to like a Peyton Hillis, let me think. They got Peyton Hillis comparisons, LeGarrette Blunt comparisons, just a guy downhill running back, a Doug Martin type who will run your ass over and will take you to the house. I don't really know what to expect with Cam Scatterbo at the NFL level. He could be a Toby Gerhart, where, good college running back, doesn't quite make it at the NFL level. I am rooting for this guy. Like I said at the beginning of my video, I think it would be fun if the Browns ran out there with Cam Scatterbo, Travis Hunter, and Jackson Dart on offense and just said, hey, throw the ball, run it down their throat. We're going to make mistakes, but at the same time, hey, there's going to be high points. There's going to be highlights that we are going to have. And I think Cam Scatterbo could make our offense really fun. I don't know if he's a game changer at the NFL level, but he's a guy that, hey, 94th overall, if he's available, yeah, I'd take a chance at him. Now, this is the first tight end I would take a look at. We have David Njoku from University of Miami already. Well, who better than to pair him up with at tight end than another University of Miami tight end, Elijah Arroyo. I think this man is the best tight end for the Browns to draft at a reasonable level. Tyler Warren, Colston Loveland, realistically, they're probably not going to be available, or we're probably not going to get good value on them. Elijah Arroyo with the 67th overall pick, I think will be there. I think it's someone that the Browns should absolutely look at, and I think he has a good combination of both receiving and blocking. That is something that I cannot belittle in this draft. We need a blocking tight end. Okay. If they have the ability to go up for routes, fine. That's awesome. Kind of like a Harrison Bryant type guy. With Eli Arroyo, I want him to block first. David Njoku, he's going to be the guy running routes. But if Njoku gets injured, which he has a history of, Elijah Arroyo has that ability to step up, be a blocking tight end, and go out for routes. Again, I think he's the best tight end available with the draft position that we have without reaching on someone. Now, Elijah Arroyo ain't available. Another guy I really like with an NFL pedigree, Mason Taylor from LSU. Okay, this guy I like as a blocking tight end first and foremost. Okay, again, the number one thing I'm looking for with my tight ends is blocking. There's a reason why you haven't seen a Harold Fanning yet. Okay, he is a great receiving tight end. I don't think he is a good blocking tight end. With Elijah or Mason Taylor here, they provide you a good blocking tight end. Mason Taylor has already had a top 30 visit with the Cleveland Browns. The Browns have visited and met with him, and I think he is a great target, especially at that 94th overall pick in the third round. Again, we go wide receiver, quarterback, running back, tight end. I'm not going to be mad. We completely overhaul our offense, and our first 5 picks should be all offense. Now, my ninth choice. Okay, I said my first 5 picks should be all offense. If Browns want to do a little differently and just say, hey, we have a value pick right here at 94th overall. On defense, the biggest position of need is safety because all we got is Grant Delpit, Tony Dean, and Ronnie Hickman. We need another safety who's capable of starting next to Grant Delpit in case of an injury. Kevin Winston Jr., Latham Ransom, Andrew Makuba. These are all guys right here that I think the Browns should consider. I'm a huge Kevin Winston guy. I think if the Browns can get him at 94 overall or even 67, which might be a little bit of a reach because he is coming off of an injury, I think Browns can get an awesome starting safety in the third round if it is Kevin Winston Jr. I think he has the ability to step in right away and be a day one starter. Lathan Ransom and Andrew Makuba, I think they're more depth pieces. I don't think they can go in and start right away, but I would love them as depth, as rotation pieces. I'm more into the Texas safety Andrew Makuba over Lathan Ransom. But if I had to rank these guys, Kevin Winston Jr., if it wasn't for the injury, he'd be first, second round talent. Then I would have the Texas, I'd have Andrew Makuba, and then I had Latham Ransom. Okay, so if the Browns do decide to go defense, my first choice is safety. These are the guys I think they should look at. Obviously they could have look at like Malachi Starks. I don't want the Browns to waste 33 overall. I don't want them to waste or trade back to get a defensive player. Focus on offense. If they do go for a safety, third round is fine. Make it one of these guys. So, real quick breakdown. Caleb Johnson, easily clearing away the number one guy I'm looking at. Uh, Ariante Ursary, Jaden Higgins, Xavier Restrepo, Jack Beck, Cam Scatabo, Elijah Arroyo, Mason Taylor, Winston Ransom, Makuba. All of these guys I'd be excited for. Again, if we could get Caleb Johnson or Ariante Ursary in the third round with 67th overall, that is by far and away the best case scenario for the Cleveland Browns. And now we got a few guys to look at with 104th overall. And my first choice is Ozzie Trapilo or Emory Jones Jr. Okay. These guys are both tackles at the NFL or at the college level. Maybe they get moved inside for the NFL level. Ossie Trapilo, I am more confident can be a starting left tackle at the NFL level. I think he has the arm length to compete and to be a factor. Drafting him with the 104th overall pick, if he's there, I think is awesome. Because look at this. You draft, let's say, Shador at 2, Omari and Hampton or Henderson at 33. You get a guy like Jack Besh at 67. You get an awesome tight end like maybe a Gunnar Helm, who I will talk about shortly here, or Mason Taylor, Elijah Arroyo at 94. All of a sudden, with your fifth pick in the draft at 104th overall, you get your left tackle. You nail each of the positions that I want the Browns to hit. Again, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and offensive tackle. Emory Jones Jr., on the other hand, I honestly think he'll move inside. I think he'll transition to guard. If the Browns look to have him, I think he could be one of those swing tackles. I think he could move around from left tackle to left guard to maybe even center in the NFL. I just think he's a very interesting player that can move around and be versatile, kind of like a Gray Zabel who's going to be picked in the first round. I think Emory Jones can be that productive in the NFL, just at a steeper discount. My second choice, Gunnar Helm. And earlier I mentioned Harrison Bryant. I think Gunnar Helm is a better blocking version of Harrison Bryant. Just a solid guy who we could run in the I formation. We could put him at fullback. We could put him at tight end. He can go for short routes, short little out routes. You could have a guy like David Njoku stretch the seam. You could have this guy, do a little out. I think this guy feels the need for the Browns at a good discount. I think he's a guy that the Cleveland Browns should look at. 786 yards, 7 touchdowns with Quinn Ewers this past season for Texas. I think he is a discount tight end that the Browns should take a look at, specifically with 94th overall or 104th overall. My third choice, Terrence Ferguson. Again, I don't want to focus heavily on tight ends in the first, second, early third round, 67th overall, but I do want to focus on tight ends at 94th and 104th overall. Taking a look at these guys right here, I think Terrence Ferguson, I think Gunnar Helm, and I think right here Mason Taylor. These are the three guys, the tight ends, who I think should be on Andrew Berry's level for, hey, who's a sleeper tight end who will come in day one, produce as tight end two, who will make good blocks, and who will be a great tight end to pair next to David Njoku. Again, I want the Browns to take a look at these guys right here. Now, my fourth choice is the 104th overall pick. Let's say the Browns do exactly what I want, and they just go straight offense, 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 offense. Finally, with the 104th overall pick, they don't need to focus on offense anymore. Here are some safeties who I think are sleepers in the fourth round who could be rotation players or maybe at some point could be starting next to Grant Delpit. Jalen Reed, Sebastian Castro, two Big Ten football players who I heavily, heavily love. Now, I am more biased toward the Penn State safeties, Jalen Reed, uh, Winston. Jalen Reed, I think, is a phenomenal player who would pair very nicely to Grant Delpit. I think their play styles complement each other a lot. I think you could bring both of them on the blitz, but I think Grant being placed in that box and Jalen Reed being placed in the free safety, 20, 25 yards downfield, I think that would fit him really nice. 3 interceptions last year. Castro, I think, is a step below Jalen Reed, but I think he's still a good target. I don't think you could go really wrong with Iowa safeties, specifically Iowa defensive players or Iowa tight ends. I think those are players you should always take a look at. Sebastian Castro, to me, passes the eye test, at least at 104th position right here. My fifth choice right here. I told you I'm looking at 4 quarterbacks. Number 1, Cam Ward. We're not going to draft him. It's going to be Titans. 2, Shedeur Sanders, who Browns could absolutely draft at second overall, but right now, I believe they're leaning Travis Hunter, and I'm okay with that. You got Jackson Dart at number 33. I would absolutely love that. Let's skip the Jalen Milrows of the world, the Dylan Gabriels of the world, the Quinn Ewers, Will Howard, 104th overall. If the Browns decide, hey, we're going to skip out on quarterback for the first three rounds, which would absolutely probably really piss off most Browns fans. I I'm okay if the Browns do not draft a quarterback in this draft. I would absolutely love it if it was Dart, Ward, or Sanders. But if the Browns just say, hey, none of these QBs are good enough, we're not going to draft them. We don't see any of them being our franchise quarterbacks. I'm fine with them skipping out on a quarterback. If they decide to take a flyer on a guy like Will Howard, a national champion Will Howard at the fourth round, I'm 100% okay with it. Look what happened to Will Howard when he came to the best college football team in college football, Ohio State Buckeyes. 4,000 yards, 35 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. This guy played phenomenal. Every now and then I thought he can get onto like a slow start, but having guys like Jeremiah Smith, having a guy like Emeka Egbuka, again, I think really elevated his game. Imagine pairing him up with Jerry Jeudy, Pro Bowl wide receiver, and a generational talent in Travis Hunter. I think that could be a really exciting combination right there. Again, he is a project. I'm not really advocating to draft him, but if the Browns do want to draft a quarterback that's someone not in the big three, being Dart, Ward, and Sanders, I think you got to give Will Howard a chance. So if we break it down right here, this is how I view it. Ossie Trapilo, Emory Jones Jr., Gunnar Helm, Terrence Ferguson, Reed Orcastro, and then Will Howard. This is kind of my excitement level. If we draft Gunnar Helm or Ossie Trapilo, I think they're the most ideal players to draft in the fourth round. That way we can say, hey, we have our tight end two or at least project left tackle or someone who can compete with Dawand Jones. But if we want to draft a safety here, I'm happy with it. If we want to take a chance on national champion quarterback Will Howard, so be it. So let's take a look at the breakdown of all the picks. First round, in order, who do I want? I want Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, Abdul Carter. If it happens, trade down. I'm okay with it. Second round, Jackson Dart, Omarion Hampton, Emeka Egbuka, Josh Simmons, Henderson or Judkins, Connolly or Colston Loveland. Third round, Caleb Johnson, Ariante Ursary, Jaden Higgins, Xavier Restrepo, Jack Besh, Cam Scatabo, Elijah Arroyo, Mason Taylor, Winston, Makuba, Ransom would all be great safeties. And in the fourth round, Ozzie Trapilo, Emory Jones, Gunnar Helm, Terrence Ferguson, Jalen Reed, Sebastian Castro, Will Howard, I think are all good prospects right here. If I had my dream and I had everything the way I wanted, assuming Cam Ward goes number one overall, I go Travis Hunter at 2. I go Omarion Hampton at 33. Fingers crossed that he's there. I don't expect him to be. From there, I go Ariante Ursary and then Gunnar Helm. That way we have a franchise wide receiver, a franchise running back, a franchise left tackle, and a tight end too. I skip out on a quarterback. I don't think this is an elite quarterback class by any means. Again, I think whatever quarterback you take, it will be a project. There will be a bumpy road. Could Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart be immediate successes in the NFL like Jaden Daniels? Absolutely. Do I think it's very likely? No. I think Cam Ward has the highest ceiling out of all of them. Shedeur Sanders and Jackson Dart, I think it will take some time to adjust. I think they're guys who can take your franchise rebuild, and I think they could take it and they could shrink it down to a year or two, and all of a sudden you're competing for playoffs. I also think that they're the type of guys where if you draft one of these guys with second overall or 33rd overall and they don't pan out, your rebuild just got 5 years longer. Okay. That's why I'm a little hesitant drafting quarterback. If it was Cam Ward and we had the number one overall pick, I'm all in, but we don't. Shedeur Sanders and Jackson Dart, again, I have my fingers crossed for both of them that they will be successful. I don't even care if it's for the Browns or not. I do want them to be successful. but I'm not 100% sure they will be successful. Again, this is my QB, RB, wide receiver, tight end, offensive tackle, and safety rankings right here. Um, Taking a look at this, you know, Ward, Sanders, Dart, Howard, Hampton, Henderson, Johnson, Judkins, Scatabo. That might surprise you how I have Johnson above Judkins. A lot of Ohio State fans are not going to be happy with me. I do think Caleb Johnson will be a steal at 67th overall, and hopefully he's available. Hunter, Egbuka, Higgins, Restrepo, Besh. Please do not sleep on Xavier Restrepo. I think he will be a PPR monster on the Cleveland Browns, a Jarvis Landry type player, more specifically Jarvis Landry from the Miami Dolphins days. Tight ends, I don't see Loveland really being in play. If the Browns want to draft him at 33, if he's ever available, I don't think he will be, but if he does drop, um, take a look at him. Otherwise, 67 overall, look at Elijah Arroyo, uh, Mason Taylor, Gunnar Helm, Ferguson. 33 overall, please consider Simmons. Josh Simmons is that guy. I promise you, if there's a can't miss target, I know you got guys like Ashton Genty and Travis Hunter. I want to say Josh Simmons is that level player. I know he has injury concerns. I think he will be the best left tackle in this draft. If he's available at 33 overall, Browns, you have to consider drafting him. Otherwise, Arante Ursary, I think, would be a great target at the second round, at the third round, 67th overall, if he's available. And then safeties. The number one safety I want is Winston. We might have to draft him in the third round, but if he's ever available at 104 overall, that's a steal right there. I know he's coming off a major injury like Simmons. You need to consider drafting Kevin Winston. And then there's probably players that you're like, hey, why didn't you talk about him? A lot of Browns fans want this guy. There's players I am avoiding, and these are the players that I'm avoiding right here. Jalen Milroe. He is not the answer. Browns fans, please, you gotta quit looking at QB lists and being like, hey, the fourth quarterback in a weak draft class, I want him to maybe be our franchise guy. No, we are not taking the fourth or fifth ranked quarterback in a weak draft class and maybe having him be our guy. It's like drafting Cody Kessler all over again or DeShone Kizer. Why do Browns fans think drafting the fourth, fifth, hell, even sixth ranked quarterback, it's what's going to save us? It's not. Jalen Milroe, avoid. I get it. People want him to be a Jalen Hurts type player, and he probably can be a Jalen Hurts type player. And I know Jalen Hurts is next tier up. He is a solid player, but he's not the single reason why the Eagles won that Super Bowl. Okay, Milroe is a project. It is not a project that I want to gamble with. Same with Quinn Ewers. I don't like Quinn Ewers. I used to be really high on him, thinking, hey, he's going to be a first round talent. Now I just want to avoid him completely. Same thing with Tyler Show. I don't know why Browns fans, specifically Browns media, is pushing this 26-year-old quarterback on us. No, I want nothing to do with him. I don't care if he's pro ready. He's 26 years old. I want to avoid him at all costs. He's not even top 10 QB rankings in this weak draft class. Completely avoid him. I'd rather take a chance on Will Howard. And I'll be honest, I kind of want to avoid Will Howard too, but in the fourth round, I'll take a chance. Isaiah Bond has uh, assault issues that he's dealing with. He's a player that I really liked. I thought, hey, this could be an ideal pairing with Jerry Jeudy. Recently, within the last few weeks, he's had some assault charges brought against him. Avoid him. Browns don't need a PR headache. Get him out of there. Take him off your draft board. I already talked about Harold Fanning Jr. We don't need a receiving tight end. David Njoku is awesome. He can block. He can do everything that you want a tight end can do. Harold Fanning, when I look at him, I see a great receiving tight end. I don't see a great blocking tight end. We need a tight end who can block. I don't think Harold Fanning is the guy. Okay, a lot of Browns fans like him, and a lot of Browns fans want to draft him with a 67th overall. I want to avoid him. Okay, unless, if he's available at, 94 or 104th overall, absolutely. I just want to make sure the compensation's good. And lastly, I don't think he was ever on our Browns radar. I don't think we should draft a corner, especially if we draft Travis Hunter. But Siobhan Revels Jr., I just think is undersized. and he's not really a player that I think the Browns should go after. Some people have a first round grade on him. I say completely avoid him. So if you take a look, here's my position rankings one last time. Again, I cannot stress enough. Quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, running back, left tackle. These are the 5 positions the Browns needs to address first, followed by safety. Who can we take and pair next to Grant Delpit? Again, one last look at the position rankings right here. My little breakdown of who is the best available at what round. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you think I'm an idiot, hey, I want to hear it. Do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe. Hey, Minnesota Browns fans, out.